ask this woman and see what she has to say. Say, I think I made the wrong turn. I wanted to go to the library.
You know, I think you keep going south on Overland.
Do you have carpal tunnel by any chance?
This one, yes, but he
This one-
recommended wearing both wrists at once. And
Because-
so I don't know. I didn't have time to ask him, but if this doesn't work, he said way down the line it could be an injection, and way down the line it might be.
But you know what? What he's not doing is he's not teaching you what you need to know. You go to a hand therapist.
Go to what?
A hand therapist, a certified hand therapist. That can be a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, but it means that they've spent at least 5 years. And hand means the whole upper body. And a good one will answer questions on the phone.
No, he was on the phone and it was like a rush
Okay,
thing.
but wait a minute, wait. This is very serious. It's your life. Are you going to learn to deal with an aging body or not? And that's just the one. And if people aren't teaching you that, they're not doing their job. And I just happen to get angry at them, not at you. But
no, point I want to make is I haven't given him a good chance yet. I go back to see him, and I have a lot of questions to ask.
okay, is he? He's a doctor.
Good neurologist.
Neurologists know about nerves and connections, and they're really smart about it. But you know what they don't study? They don't study how you teach somebody how to actually do what they need to know to do, because he can't do it for you. Only you can do it for you. You need to go to somebody who's a teacher who says, okay, this is going to take some time. Not necessarily lots right together, but we're going to work together. And then you're going to have a specific task to work on for next week. And then when we get together...
Like physical therapy.
Yeah, but good stuff, not the bullshit. Not where they say, oh, let me take care of you, and by the way, you should keep doing this. No, that's wrong. It should be 95% teaching, and the only to show, it's like, but they shouldn't just do it for you. They shouldn't be sitting there saying, okay, blah, 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 blah. They should be saying, look, you take this hand, you put it on here, and you hold it down, and you count, and you could sing, maybe do something. You know, be on the phone with somebody while you're doing it. Do it while you're in traffic. And then if you do it on this hand, this is the hand that got injured, but always good idea to do it on this hand.
Both hands. What's your background? Are you a physical therapist?
I'm an occupational therapist.
See, I knew.
And I was kicked out of my profession because I'm telling people that it's most of it is just, it's all to how the medical reimbursement system works. And it's not about doing what, like occupational therapy in particular has a very much, well, it's really it's a Western approach to that yoga is an approach to. They're the same thing. It's just one comes from experience, and these guys who've learned how to control, how to have their mind and their body working together, being like this. Not the mind saying, no, I'm going to ignore you, or the body saying, I'm going to keep bugging you and making you crazy and because I have some pain. Well, F you, body, so what? You know, I've been learning, because I've been living in my car for a while, I have this thing where my body says it's time to go to the bathroom, to move your bowels. No! And it's usually right within a half an hour of my waking up, and I really don't want to get up. And it's no. And I've had to learn to teach it, and I teach it. I go through almost like, you know, those exercises women do for control. Actually, you know, just the idea of clenching your sphincter. And not clenching it, letting go. Clenching it, letting go. And I'm sending a message to that other part of my body, my mind, that's saying, move your bowels now. Which is great. Actually, it turns out I'm really very, regular. You see, it's sort of ideal, except, no, it's not ideal because
so you want to change your mind to coordinate with your body.
Yes. Well, I have the mind be in connection, in communication with the body. And in control, because the body needs the mind. Mm-hmm. The body is the house of the mind, but the body does nothing without the mind. And the mind can get really pulled down by a a body, and if the mind doesn't understand, if the mind says, yes, anyway.
And if you give into your mind.
Right. We'll give into, these habits of thought that you started when you were 3 years old and 5 years old, and people say things like, why do I always blank, whatever it is, leave my keys or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very simple 5-letter word answer. It's habit. That's why. That is why. If you've done it 1,000,000 times, of course you're going to do it again. What you may be able to do, and this is something I learned in the teaching side of occupational therapy. You could break it down into steps, baby steps, for yourself and for people you're working with. You could say, look, you're not going to change a habit, whether it's a habit of doing something that's not good for you or not doing something that you should do. You're not, ain't going to happen that way. So let's set out a goal of, first of all, understanding that a habit is always an association of some sort of situation, and then the more times you respond a certain way, the more likely you're going to do it. So if you're going to change a habit, you've got to be able to recognize the situation as it's happening, or even before, as it's about to happen. Mm-hmm. If you're the kind of person like me who tends to put my foot in my mouth at wrong times, if I can go, I could just feel it coming. I can just do. I have this thing called GTD, getting too detailed. It's detailed. Detailed.
Detailed.
Yeah, I'm getting too detailed. And it's what I call a cognitive tool. It's what I carry around in my head. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like Jiminy Cricket, except not a moralist. But wait, excuse me, I think you're talking too much. Which is what. Well, I realize there's all sorts of reasons why people do whatever they do, and it doesn't really matter which one of the reasons it is. It's if I can recognize that I'm getting maybe either flustered or, or defensive or mixed up myself, GTD, the response is just recognize it. Oh, I recognize it. And I could say, and I'll say to people, I'm sorry, I just got too detailed. And, yeah, and usually people are happy that I say it because I'm starting to lose them. If I start to see the glazed look in their eyes.
Oh, God, no, just be quiet, they're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think sometimes I think, I do get too detailed, but not normally.
Well, whatever it is, everybody's got their areas. Right.
Or if you want to stop eating sweets,
right,
then you can train yourself, right?
Yes, you can. But if you say I'm going to stop eating sweets or whatever, and all the games. Well, it's also recognizing the games you're playing with yourself, right? Because we all do.
I'll just have one cookie.
Right. Yeah. Like instead of buying a whole candy bar, I'll buy a bag of those little ones.
And then hide them and just put them out of your sight.
Right, not too hard. Right, not too hard to get to.
Out of your sight. I know, yeah.
Right.
It's steps.
So,
you're right.
Yes.
Okay. You want to go to the library?
Yeah.
You go south. Mm-hmm. So you go up the parking lot, turn right. And it's, I don't know, a block or two, and it'll be on the right. You just have to watch for it. Culver City Library.
Okay. I'm going to give you my card, which you're the first person I'm giving to in quite a long time, partly because you do have to realize my website is, you see, I can't do it all. That's the thing. I can't do it all. And so my website is like snippets of what I'm doing. And what I'm really doing is is a project that I started in 2006 when I was back in school for occupational therapy. Because I didn't go back to school until I was 50. To learn this, and made a big difference being older already and having done, and so anyway, it's interesting because I'm talking to you because ultimately I believe the real reason, it's actually really amazing now that I think about it, you're bringing back my original idea that I was going to go and somehow make a name for myself so that I could talk to people about this stuff, because nobody wants to listen to it unless it's done in the right way. And then I decided, if I'm going to tell people I can help them enhance their habits, that's what I call it, habit enhancement. Because you don't get rid of old habits, but you can You can replace.
Slough 'em off.
Yeah, right. Well, sometimes, learn how to do that. Or sometimes you have to. But the real way is by putting something new in its place. Say, oh, I'd rather, like, I prefer to do this, like Bartleby. You know Bartleby, the Scrivener, by any chance? Never mind if you don't. It's Herman Melville wrote a very interesting
But it
story.
sounds familiar to me.
Well, he was the guy he was a scrivener. I mean somebody who just copied, in the 1840s, like copied legal documents, like 5, in quadruplicate. Can you imagine doing that? 20-page document, and all with ink, and not, no mistakes. Oh, and
Start over if you make a mistake.
yeah, the page, right? And doing that all, and Bartleby is a sensitive soul, and he grew up. He probably was the son of some nouveau riche, country gentry person or something like that, in upstate New York or something. And then so he sends the kid to school, and the school is a very strict, this is the way you think, right? Or we think this way. But he did learn things. He got an education, and then what was an education good for somebody like him? He'd be the school teacher, which he wasn't going to be. It just wasn't him. And then he went to the city to try to find people, like-spirited people, people who just want to live and be poetic. I mean, he's a kind of poetic kind of guy. And he winds up being a scrivener. And one day he just decides, he says, I prefer not. To when his boss, he just stops working, and when his boss comes and says, "Why are you?" Yeah, I prefer not. And he does it, and then he finally, and the boss is a really nice guy. It's written from the boss's point of view, and he's saying, "This guy just came and into my life, and this is what happened," and finally he can't throw him. The guy. Oh, it's never mind. You could read the story. It's a good story, but it's the. I prefer
What's the name?
not.
Bartleby.
Bartleby, the scrivener. Right. And so it's interesting. Guess what? I was recording. I didn't think I was. Wait, in fact, do you have a problem with that? Because if you do, I